Back to basics today with the Bionicle Inspiration series. We spotlight mocks from across the community to give you some LEGO building inspiration. And today we're going to discuss some Vahki mocks, because the Vahki are a little underrated, but they're really cool. So let's take a look at some really good Vahki mocks and get you inspired. Vahki TKRK is our first mock today, and it's built by Nurak. Mate, this is like the 5th mock I've talked about recently that uses minifigure whip pieces to create that really nice robotic aesthetic. It's just a sign that that's a really good idea, I guess. Maybe you gotta use it in one of your upcoming mocks. That's why it keeps appearing before me. But hey, that design always looks good, and I think it really does help spice up this Vahki a little bit in all the right ways. It just adds that nice little addition of detail to the design, and that just really makes it pop. It's good to see images here of the mock standing on its legs, but also of it hunched over in that sort of like spider position. Yeah, the original Vahki sets were able to do this, and yeah, it's nice to see that this revamp is also able to do that, because there's many times that play features or transformations like this, they can be forgotten or just excluded in mocks that reimagine or update classic sets. Which is always a shame when that's not included, so I'm glad it is here. This back design is also really cool, the way that they've used some of these 1x1 curved plate pieces and a few other Technic pieces to create this really interesting back design. How rad does that look? And the cool shape of this leg design as well, everything here is just lovely. Nurak is up next, and Marco has built this mock. Look at the green light that's used for the eye here. That's just stunning. Lighting can totally change the look and feel of a LEGO creation. It is something that, if you haven't started looking into it yet, I think it's definitely worth exploring because you can get so many cool results with it. This like spark of light makes this mock feel so much more alive. It adds a slight extra creepy factor to the build, and I think it also really draws your attention into this head design and gets you to focus in on the rest of the great designs and good techniques that have been used on this face. You know, like this overly robotic design that's going on here, using system slopes and hinge plates to make a wonderful, menacing looking mechanical pincer design, and then all these different wires and other greeble elements. It makes for such a good tech-focused look. This is just like such a great way to reinvent the head design for a Vahki, but still have it be a little bit similar at the same time. The new shoulder pads and this like padded armor on the lower legs, these are great details as well. It's nice to see some more beefed up areas on a Vahki, especially since, you know, the sets, they were somewhat more like slimmed down. These very subtle hints of a little bit more armor on a still like kind of relatively thin design. I think they're very welcome changes that don't look too like vastly different from how the Vahki originally looked, but push it enough in a new direction that is refreshing. It's cool. Nurak is our next build today, and Purak has built this. Now you might have guessed it by the name, but the builder describes this build as a group of a dozen Vahki specifically designed to protect Turaga Doom. Now I love that idea, you know, a secret service or like bodyguards or royal guards that protect their leader. They are like highly trained and difficult to defeat. That's always a really cool concept. And I think they've executed that very well here, all thanks to this gorgeous color scheme. This marbled dark red and black color scheme, it reminds me of a blood moon, and it's just got such a wonderful sinister quality to it. You know, with a level of importance that reminds you of like the Imperial Royal Guards in Star Wars with their bright red armor and cloak. Such a good look. But the best part of this is the fact that it uses some of these marbled weapon pieces. Now these weapons appeared in this specific coloration on the awesome, amazing theme Exoforce, specifically in this set Thunder Fury, which was a great set as well. And then you combine them with the Turaga Doom mask that has a incredibly similar color scheme. And yeah, using 2 of those masks for the shoulder armor there, amazing. It's great to see those 2 black and dark red marbled pieces working so well together to create this awesome, stunning color scheme and make this Vahki look just incredible. Wiggleoid has built our next Vahki today, and it's called Bordak Urban Pacification. It's cool how this mock looks like some sort of sci-fi police robot, because, hey, that's basically what the Vahki were. It's very clever, and it's a fun way to represent them like this. It works well, despite how different it is. This head design is great, converting the face to look more like a cockpit that someone might actually ride inside and making this more of a mech suit. Cool. And then adding some pincers at the front so that it mirrors the original set. That's lovely. And I especially love the inclusion of one of these Hero Factory breakout handcuff pieces at the very center there, just below the cockpit. Those pair quite nicely with the pincers on the side, and they just look really cool, and that's a really good part use as well. I also think this color scheme is great. The tiny hints of orange are just perfect. They pop very nicely, and honestly, adding in any more orange, I don't think that would work. The subtlety of this is what makes it work so well. Plus, this foot design is great, half Mutterfoot on one end, and some claws on the front. It looks great. A bit of a goofy one now. This is by Ivan Martinov, and this is Vahki Rosnack. So this is actually using Lego pieces, even though it may not look like it. These are Znap pieces. Znap is actually a Lego theme. It's a bit more of an obscure one that Lego was playing with all sorts of weird things that look nothing like Lego. But yeah, this does exist and it is indeed a thing. And Ivan is giving it some love and using it to build a Vahki, which I think is just brilliant. It's such a good reminder that no piece is useless. You can turn it into something awesome if you really put your mind to it. And honestly, any mock that uses a heavy, large amount of weird, obscure Lego pieces, as someone who loves weird, obscure Lego stuff, it makes me very happy. These huge weapons and the fact that they're a different color to everything else, they're great. And then these big, goofy, long legs. How cool is that? I think Ivan really did a good job of matching the silhouette and the shape of a Vahki body. He did it very well, honestly. I adore how goofy and how clever this is. And finally, Redverse has built Metru Patrol Bordak. What a spectacular revamp of a Vahki. It's so big and imposing and so well built. I mean, these weapon pieces alone, you're using the Tahu G2 blades in silver and then adding in some orange system pieces in the middle. That looks awesome. And the way that the weapon is embedded into this arm and there's some nice blue tubing running through it, magical. What a great look. And we got ourselves a lovely little head design with this smaller trans-clear windscreen around this very evil-looking mono eye. It's a great way to design the head, and it just works. It's a great way to do the head a little bit differently, but it still works very well. And then this orange eye stalk thing, building this out of all sorts of other different pieces in orange, it helps fit this larger scale of the build. But the best part is using a brick separator upside down to help recreate the shape of the top part there. That's genius. And that's a good tip in its own right, by the way. Can you use a piece on its side or upside down? You might suddenly discover brand new ways that you could use them. If Lego tells you to use a piece in a specific way, sure, that's one way you could use it, but can you use it upside down on its side, or there's other different ways? So yeah, a brilliant Vahki, and lots of brilliant Vahki today, actually. Maybe it's the perfect time to build a Vahki now that HF Feb is over. Not that March is going to be purely dedicated to building Vahki, unless. But good to see a lot of good mocks today. Hopefully they gave you some inspiration. And if you want to check out some of the other stuff that these builders have built, be sure to check the links in the description below. I'll have links to all their social media there so you can check out their stuff and maybe, give them a comment, leave a like, and leave your thoughts on what you think of their builds. And I mean, if you really want to do that, you can do the same with this video as well. Up to you. And if you want to submit your mocks to the Bionicle Inspiration series, you can submit them to the submission email that's in the description below, and it's also on your screen right now. Put whatever you think is important in that email and send it my way. I'll do my best to feature it when I can. Actually, the next episode is a fan submitted mocks episode, so there you go. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.